Business Administration.
Well, if you want to see what a championship could mean, look no further than the image on screen. That's what the Paints had last year at VA Memorial Stadium after winning that final game against the River Dragons to take the series in 3, kissing the trophy over the lights in Chillicothe, Ohio. Paints will hope to have that same image, too, when they're done with the Gems in the first of 3, though. To do so, they're going to have to come back in this game down 10-6 in the top of the 4th. As the opening batter in this inning going to be C.J. Dean. The first pitch from Stockwell will rip to the zone, but it's grounded to Z-Big. He charges in and can't handle it. So Z-Big's charged with an error. Cameron Bowen on the other side of things, so the Paints already has one himself. And that position been of concern defensively as there's one on with nobody out. Home plate umpire tonight is Scott Russell, David Schwartz at first, Eric Ashlock at second, Caleb George at third. The 4 umpires in this game tonight at QU. Stockwell throws ball 1. Jimmy Nugent, the batter, who has a strikeout and a walk. Prospect League doubling up the umpires in this postseason matchup as it's now 1-1. This game already about a couple of hours old, a bit different than the Paints game. Their first Great River Division game got done in 2:37 in front of 1,277 fans. You then had the game against the Springfield Lucky Horseshoes to go back to that. Would get done in front of 882. Stockwell up in the count 1-2 in 2 hours and 7 minutes as they defeated the Lucky Horseshoes and the run rule in 7, 12-0. Stockwell's 1-2 is ripped into the air. Andujar is going to retreat, but he should have room in front of the rocks to make out number 1. With 1 down, it's Braden White. Catcher for the Paints says single and RBI in the 3rd, also grounded out in the 2nd. White, the catcher, also from Toledo, where his teammate Jackson Bergman appeared in 2023. There he had 3 homers, 29 RBIs, 8 doubles, hitting .290 throughout the course of the season, gets ahead 1-0. Was a top 1,000 product by perfect game, number 300 catcher nationally at a high school, 62 overall prospect in the state of Ohio, also the number 11 catcher, as that is fouled out of QU. 8 preseason All-American teams in 2021. But he's tied up in the long ball game. Mentioned what it was for Chillicothe. They're 2 games under 3 hours in the first 2 playoff games, so the Gems would get it done at Marion Stadium in 3 hours and 14 minutes. That'll be ball number 2. Now a 2-1 count. And then the Lumber Kings game where the Gems would win the Great River to start off that 4 postseason game day at 2 o'clock Central. They would then play till 4:35 in front of 1,000 fans at Nelson Court Field, a 6-5 win, helping the Gems move on to the Western Conference Championship where they would win it. Still up 4 here in the top of the 4th. 1 on and 1 out as this one will dive inside towards Braden White. And with a walk, he's at first. Stockwell issues another.
Second baseman, number 35, C.J. Carmichael.
Stockwell, you know, we look at his mechanics. It's been awkward. Kind of tends to step towards first base when he throws, and going across his body, you wonder how much that's helped or hurt his control, we should say. Again, 3 walks already on the night with only a strikeout. Of course, you are playing against a Paints team that is amongst the best. Hardly easy to do it, but C.J. Carmichael is 1 for 2 with a single and a lineout. Flies the lumber through strike one. But if you're Stockwell, gotta bear down here. Find a way to get out of this inning. You've still got the double play ball in action if you can get it. As time is late, but granted by Scott Russell to Braden White. Or I should say C.J. Carmichael. Pardon me. Stockwell's one strike pitch, and that'll lob inside, ball one. QU Stadium still packed up here on a Thursday night. Gems last time in 2023 they'll ever play at home. Got to play both, if necessary, on the road at VA Memorial Stadium in this championship series. Here's a ground ball to Stockwell. He fires to Koza. The out is there. Back to first, and the double play is off, as Tristan Menny cannot hang on to a ball off the turf. But an important out is made. There's one more needed to get the Gems out of the top of the fourth.
Center fielder number 16, Tyler Schoenfeld.
Schoenfeld is already 2 for 2 with a walk. Gets a chance to help himself again and this team as it's down 4. First pitch, that is on the ground to Koza. He's going to run over to his right, fumble the baseball, flip to second, it's not in time. Dean comes across to score, and it's now 10-7 for Quincy. So an error called on Koza. Schoenfeld is 2 for 3 now.
Shortstop number 2, Cameron Bowen.
But he'll get aboard any way he can. Cameron Bowen, the batter, the shortstop. 1 for 1, was hit by a pitch, walked, but also had the RBI single in the second. By walking in third, he also drove in a paint, and it's down to the count 0-1. Stockwell really needs to bear down here. The defense been faulty behind him as a pitch is just belted, but that's going to drift out of play. That'll be a souvenir for a lucky fan down there on left. Gems again got out to the big lead after the first. Went down 2-0, responded with 8 in the bottom frame, then had another 2-run inning in the second while the Paints only got 1. None in the third, while Chillicothe's put up 4 combined in the third, and then through the first 2/3 of this fourth inning. Just talked about it several times, but this roster not going to go away. Here's the 1-2. That is sent foul. And the Gems, if they have to look back at this game, think what went wrong, how they could have won, if not by more either. It's that defense in this inning been letting them down. Koza with the error, and then back at first, Menny just couldn't hang on to it. This one is drilled out there towards Andujar into right field. Runner's going to be sent around. The play at the plate, it is not in time. Carmichael's ahead of the throw, and the Gems are only up by 2 in the fourth. Bowen with the third RBI this game already is 2 for 2 with 2 singles. He's slapping it around the yard off this Quincy pitching staff. Runners will be at the corners. Bowen at first. Over at third is Tyler Schoenfeld. That one's a strike inside ball, or strike one. My mistake, but if Schoenfeld can come around, you have all of a sudden got a 1-run ball game too, and anything to the alleys, especially with the slow grass, could help the offense provide a lot of difficulty. Gems are in a do-or-die position, but hardly a sweat from Brad Gurkos, the manager of the Gems. Nobody up and throwing in the Gems bullpen. Maybe a surprise at this point in the season, but Stockwell is out there on the island as this 1-1 will not be found on the outer black, according to home plate umpire Scott Russell. Referees in the stands want to take over the umpire duty. This 2-1 is elevated for ball 3. Paints dugout, though, at the top of the steps. Here in the infield, ready to go and root for their team. Down by 2, the pitch. Off the plate, ball 4. So right now, the Gems' defensive meltdown continues while the Paints will look to succeed. As Ryan Oden's going to make his way out to the bump, talk things over, think this is the time. Quincy may get somebody up and dishing in the bullpen. Again, they got the bases loaded in the top of the 4th. The Gems are up by just 2, 10-8. A usual situation. Somebody is up and throwing. Stockwell, though, he's issued 4 walks in the game, and he has not got all the help behind him defensively. Again, a couple of errors already in this inning, and that's given this Paints team second life. That is for sure. However, Stockwell not helping himself with the walks, and so 2 things going wrong for Quincy, but it's got to just shore up one of them if it wants to get out of the inning with 2 away. And Scott Russell and Otto Jones will go back to the dugout, or not to the dugout, behind the plate, I should say. Okay. Not sure what the call is by the first base umpire, and David Schwartz, maybe Oden, Harry Oden, the pitch, or not Harry Oden, but Ryan Oden, the pitching coach for Quincy, trying to make sure that the Paints are in the right position on the first base dugout. They appear to be a little closer to the field than was mandated for the Quincy side of things, as that's elevated for ball 1 to Victor Figueroa. He's grounded into a fielder's choice, walked and struck out. This 1-0 is belted right to Koza, plays it off the hop, and the flip to first will strand them all on the bases. Quincy again gets out of another jam, but they're still up by 2, going to the bottom half of the 4th.